Marisol by Gary Soto, American Girl Today. Meet Marisol Luna, a girl who was born to dance. The upsetting news that her family is moving to the Chicago suburbs is made worse when Marisol learns that her new neighborhood doesn't have a dance studio. That means no tap, no jazz, no ballet, folklórico, not even classical ballet. Instead of giving up, resourceful Marisol is determined to find a way to keep dancing. With the help of two new friends, she figures out how to combine the best of her old world with a renewed commitment to stretch and try her hardest. Chapter 1, Saturday morning. On Saturdays, I like to spend the whole morning in my bedroom. It faces Harrison Park, and I can sit in my trunk by the window and take in the action at the park and on the street below. In my trunk, I keep my clothes all nice and tidy. Well, at least my dance things. No promises about the rest. Today, I watched my friend Victor sucking a great favorite raspada while he kicked a soccer ball back and forth off a garage door. There was Mr. Mendoza, our upstairs neighbor, swinging his briefcase. Is he a businessman with a briefcase full of important papers? No, he's a nice old man with a briefcase filled with dominoes. He plays dominoes with his friends 6 days a week at the Senior Citizens Center. The rest of the time, he chugs about in the apartment above ours in slippers. He is mouse quiet. It appeared that he was a winner this morning. He was coming home whistling, Cielito Lindo. I learned part of the way out of the window and waved to Mr. Mendoza. He raised his eyes upward and waved a hand the color of rusty sycamore leaves, the color they are when they fall and tumble in autumn. Am I a nosy neighbor? No, I am Marisol Luna, first and only daughter of Hector and Elisa Luna. They are my parents and the loves of my life. Well, kind of. I also love dancing. I was born to dance, even in the crib. According to Mom, when I was 6 months old, I could shake my rattle like a maraca. By 9 months, I was standing and moving back and forth at a cha-cha-cha. Later, when I was 2 years old, I danced standing on my father's shoes. My father is my first and only boyfriend, even though he has eyes for another woman. Mom. I love my parents. I love our apartment. And I love my bedroom. It is a ceiling full of stars that glow in the dark and make me believe that I live on my own planet. But it wasn't dark right then. No, it was Saturday morning and I was only half dressed. I had my socks on, the ones I would wear all day, and my nightgown, which I would pull over my head when it was time to leave for dance class. You see, my bedroom is also my dance studio. This morning I was practicing a ballet, folklórico step that my Mexican folk dance troupe have been working on. Is an uncomplicated pattern of 1 foot over the other, then 2 steps back as part of the Jarabe Tapatio, the dance that we learned months ago and would be performing in just a few days. Other times I practice my pliés and jetés from my other ballet class. I haven't really done any jazz since I took a class last summer. Sometimes I like to wear the feather boas I got at jazz class around the house. I feel like a bird in a beautifully feathered nest. What I practice depends on which dance class I have and my mood, of course. Ballet folklórico is happy dancing, and traditional ballet is more graceful and exact. Mademoiselle Juliet is strict about posture. My cat, Rascal, came in prancing. Lovingly, he poked his nose at my shin. He expected me to rub his belly and scratch behind his ears. I bent down and petted him, but not a lot, because Rascal was in trouble with me. Where were you last night? I asked. I tried to roar a scold, but how could I? I love my cat, who arrived as a kitten in the rain 3 years ago, when I was only 7 years old. Some nights Rascal sleeps inside, curls into my covers. Other nights he walks the rickety fences of our neighborhood, and moon or no moon, Rascal meows his silly head off. Rascal meowed now. I picked him up and tossed him softly onto my bed. He stretched his princely limbs and then curled up. He is so lazy, even though he's a young cat with spring in his legs. He blinked his eyes twice and fell asleep while I continued practicing. I was partway through the routine again when I heard my father calling from another part of our apartment. Mijita, he yelled. There was panic in his voice. I went running and found him in the kitchen with his left eye squinted shut. What's wrong? I asked. He was holding a kitchen knife and for a moment I thought that he had cut himself. He told me in Spanish that he had got chili in his eye, the one that was closed. I sized up what my papi had been doing while Mom was gone, making salsa. He'd been cutting jalapeno chilies and mashing them in the molcajete, the stone grinding bowl we had gotten in Mexico. Obviously, my otherwise smart dad had rubbed his face. The chili just must have found its way into his eyes, which are the handsomest things about him. That's a family joke. That's a family joke. Dad is a great guy, but, well, he's no movie star. What a paper towel, he pleaded. First, put down that knife. He placed the knife on the counter and then sat down at the table. I dampened the paper towel under the kitchen faucet and dabbed the dad's eye until he blinked and proclaimed, Mejor, better, I'm healed, I can see. Let me see, I said, unconvinced. He leaned over and showed me his eye. Can you see? I asked. His eye was red as tomatoes in a salsa. He rotated his eye, the big joker, and exclaimed, Yes, I can see you. He stood up, washed his hands under the faucet, and picked up the knife again. He started cutting a softball-sized onion. What have you been doing? He asked as he chopped. Practicing, I answered. Dad knew that there was a dance performance at the Senior Citizens Center on Thursday. He glanced at the calendar on the refrigerator. The magnets that held the calendar had lost their power, so the calendar had slid down, way down. If Rascal were smart enough, he could easily have read that today was October 22nd. If he were even smarter, he would have known that Halloween was just over a week away. You're going to be at the performance, right? I asked Dad. Claro que sí, he sang, but then he scrunched up his face as if he were thinking, or will I? You see, my dad works for the city. His job, he maintains the trains that roll and clang through our city of Chicago. He is an electrician with his own truck, and he has 2 guys who ride with him. They keep the power going for the trains. My face fell. You mean, you might miss my performance? He shrugged his shoulders. I don't know, mija. Maybe I'm going to have a long day. His face was flat, without emotion, but then a smile quivered at the corners of his mouth. Of course I won't miss it. I'll be there. He then asked if I was hungry. I stared at the mountain of salsa in a plastic bowl. He would soon snap on a lid to keep its mighty fumes in. Where's Mom? I asked. I mean, my poppy is a good cook, but Mom is an artist in the kitchen. What? You don't trust me? He slid the knife blade covered with chucked onions into a salsa. Not in the kitchen, I said. Look at what you did to your eye. He rolled his eyes and asked me to get the eggs out of the refrigerator. Okay, I said. I was willing to give him a chance. He asked for the black frying pan. The small one or the big one? I was reaching into the dark cavern of the oven drawer where we keep the pots and pans. Cacerolita, he sang, the little one. He took the black pan I handed him and buttered it. Breakfast, I thought. Dad's idea of breakfast is a single lightly salted egg and a tortilla heated up on the black burner. He held up the egg and was ready to crack it on the edge of the pan when, presto, Mom came in with a bag of groceries heavy in her arms. What tragedy is about to happen here? Mom asked. She put the groceries down on the counter. She patted Dad's shoulder and said, "Ave, let's see." Mom and I listened as Dad described the perfect sunny side up egg, but when he cracked the egg and let it slip into the pan, the yolk began to spread. Neither Mom nor I said anything until Dad grumbled, then asked, "You like scrambled, don't you?" And that's what we had. Scrambled eggs with little bits of weenie, plus potatoes and tortillas and Dad's spicy salsa. We ate at the crowded kitchen table. I didn't even complain about Dad hogging the space. He was reading the sports section, and every time he turned the page, the newspaper raked across my potatoes. Finally, Dad put the newspaper down. Rubbing his chin, he seemed to be reflecting on some large question about life. You know, these tomatoes in la salsa, they don't have much flavor. We need to grow our own tomatoes. But you need a yard to grow your own, Mom. Mom waved a fork at the window over the sink, and we have no yard. Sounds like we might need our own house, Dad said to Mom. Then his eyes slid over to me. I used a bit of tortilla to scoop up the last of my egg, and I popped it all into my mouth. That was good, Dad, I said. It would be even better, mija, if we could grow our own chilies and tomatoes. My parents looked at me and looked and looked. They were up to something. Mom is only 5'3", but she is the captain of our van, which she maneuvered over potholes on the way to dance class. Mom gazed up into the rearview mirror. "How's your mom?" she asked my friend Sarah, who was also a member of my ballet folklórico troupe. Sarah's mother had hurt her back playing soccer. "She's okay," Sarah answered. "She's surfing right now." My mom's eyes doubled in size in the rearview mirror. Surfing in Chicago? Sarah giggled into her sleeve. I mean sewing. She's sewing my new dance skirts. I laughed too. I goof up my words all the time for no good reason. I'll say, "Mom, there's a kid at the telephone and he wants to walk with you," when I mean to say man and talk. What I can say, except my mind goes one way and my mouth another. "It's so crowded here on the weekend," Mom remarked as she craned her neck in search of a parking space. We circled the block twice, even though I had hollered, "Mom, right here!" I had spotted a parking space, but she missed it, and the next one too. In Chicago, parking spaces in front of schools on Saturday mornings are difficult to find because of the soccer games. Finally, Mom pulled into a space, and we were out of the van and running to class before she'd even turn off the engine. We were exactly 5 minutes late. "Don't rush, ladies," I heard a voice call. When I turned, I spotted Maestra Davila, our dance teacher, juggling a lot of things in her arms. She was behind us, so she was 5 minutes and a few seconds late. "Great parking," she said to my mom, who caught up to us while talking on her cell phone. Mom smiled and waved, her fingers working like she was playing the piano. "I'll be there in a sec," Mom said. We continued walking, our dance teacher in the center and Mom on the phone, trailing behind. "Let me help," Sarah said. She took a bundle of dance clothes from her teacher's arms. But the funny thing was that Sarah leaned around Maestra Davila and handed me her stuff to carry. I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned. It was Jesse, one of the other dancers. "Let me help you," he said, and took the stuff from my arms. Jesse is sometimes my partner and sometimes Sarah's partner. Other times, he is no one's partner because, well, he's nice and everything, but he just can't dance. But his mom wants him to take dance lessons, so he has to. He gets by okay in ballet folklórico, but I can't imagine him in jazz or my other ballet class. Mademoiselle Juliette might lose her sweet patience. "Don't forget about Thursday," Maestra Davila said, pulling open the front door of our elementary school. "We'll meet in front of the Senior Citizen Center." "Yeah," and I answered for Sarah and Jesse. Our footsteps clicked down the empty hallway. "On Thursday," Maestra Davila said in mock anger. There will be no tardiness, especially from your teacher. We nodded with great seriousness as we stepped through another door and headed to class in the school gymnasium. We felt the tinkling of very crude harp music that echoed off the walls. As we got closer, our feet started skipping to its happy rhythm.